What's up guys, Danny here from Pixel Perfect, and today's video is going to be a tutorial and setup guide showing you how to properly add your sound alerts as a browser source and properly sizing them to your streaming software. Now, if you haven't watched the initial setup guide, be sure to click the link in the description down below, or click the card up here in the top right corner of the screen to get started. After properly adding your alerts to your streaming software, we are going to go over how to refresh your alerts, how to add your alerts to other scenes without the effects getting doubled, how to shut them down when they're not visible, how to fix if your alerts are offline, and lastly, how to test your alerts in your streaming software. So let's hop into the setup and get started. All right, so here we are in the setup, and we're gonna do a quick recap on how to add this to your streaming software, and then we're gonna show you all of those steps we just previously mentioned. So in your sound alerts dashboard, after you have already logged in, go down to your settings, go to setup, and we're gonna start with OBS Studio. So go ahead and click I use OBS Studio, and then we're going to drag and drop this button directly into OBS. I've already brought it up for us. So we go ahead and drop it in, and you just click yes, and there we go. We already have it ready to go inside of OBS. Now, alternatively, if you don't want to use that feature, we can also go into your dashboard and use the copy and paste method. So you would click this, it's blurred out so you can't see it. Go ahead and click copy, that's perfectly fine. Bring OBS back up and just add it as a browser source. We're gonna name it Sound Alerts again, and just drop it in the URL spot here and click OK. If you need to resize it or anything like that, you can just drag and drop the little box here. I have snapping turned on, so it snaps right to every single corner, middle, or source. Now, alternatively, if you don't use OBS Studio and you use something like Streamlabs Desktop or Twitch Studio, click copy, go ahead and bring up your software, and then we are just going to add a new browser source. So our first troubleshooting measure is learning how to refresh our alerts. Whenever you're having an issue with your alerts, your best practice and first measure should always just be to click the refresh button. So in OBS, go ahead and click on your source here, and there's gonna be a little refresh button. Simply do that, and you should be good to go. This is a really good practice to get into. Now for Streamlabs Desktop, it is a little different. You go down to your source here, and you go into the properties of it, and then you just scroll down until you see refresh cache of current page. Click that, and then you are good to go. That will refresh your browser source right away. The process is nearly identical as well for Twitch Studio. Go ahead and make sure you're on your browser source here, and then simply click the reload refresh button right here, and you are good to go. You saw it just refresh right here, and now you have successfully refreshed it in any of your streaming softwares. Now, after making sure that your source is up to date and you've refreshed it, let's say you want to add it to multiple scenes. It's important that you add it to the other scenes correctly so you don't get a doubled or echoing effect from your source. It's really easy. All you have to do in OBS is go to your source, right-click it, and go to copy, go to the new scene, and then simply right-click again and paste as a reference, and it will be the exact same spot, the exact same source. Alternatively, there is another way that you can do it. All you have to do is click on the plus button in your new scene, go to browser, and then click add existing, and then go to your sound alerts and click OK. Now, because this isn't pasting as a reference, it's not going to put it at the same spot or the same size, which may work for you. It all depends on what your new scene is going to be doing. Now, the process for Streamlabs Desktop is nearly identical. Simply go into the scene that has sound alerts, copy it, go into the new scene, and then paste it, and it will show up just as a reference, just like before. And you can still do the browser source feature just like we showed earlier and add an existing source, add it, and now you will have it there as well. Now, adding it in Twitch Studio is a little different, but it's not any more difficult. Go ahead and open Twitch Studio and find your sound alerts source. Click on link layer, and this is going to allow you to copy and paste it essentially just like we did in the other two softwares. Go ahead and click got it. Go into the scene that you want to add it to. Add a layer, find your browser source, and on the right-hand side here where it says sound alerts under linked layers, this is what you want to add. You can see now that it is in the same spot. You can resize it and drag it around just like you could before. Now, a good way to save on resources and also a preventative measure to make sure that you don't get that doubled audio or echo effect is to do something called shutdown when not visible. To do this in OBS, all you have to do is go to your sound alert source, right-click on it, and go to Properties. Now scroll down here until it says Shutdown Source when not visible. Check that, click OK, you're good to go. This will deactivate this source when any other scenes are not active, meaning that it will only run in this scene when you are selected on it. The process is identical in Streamlabs Desktop. Go into your sound alerts source here, go to properties, scroll down, and it is already enabled here. Streamlabs Desktop actually enables it by default. Now for Twitch Studio, the process is a little different, and there is something you do have to note about it. When you're in Twitch Studio, down here at the bottom right, it says reload when visible. When you turn this on, what that means is every time when you change a scene, it's going to close it from the previous scene and then refresh the cache. Now, if you change scenes while a sound alert is playing, this will potentially, but not guaranteed, cut off the sound alert because the old scene has now changed, effectively turning off that source from the old scene, and you're now in the new scene. Okay, so if your browser source is offline, there are 3 best practices you can take to potentially fix this. The first is simply what we discussed earlier, just click refresh to see if that enables it. The second troubleshooting measure is the URL may have not copied properly, so just go back in, make sure you click the copy button here, and then go back into your sound alert source here and repaste it to overwrite anything that might have copied improperly from the last one. Click OK, and you should be good. And lastly, if those 2 troubleshooting measures don't work, we simply suggest deleting the browser source that you have and making a new one from scratch by going into browser, making a new one, and repasting that freshly copied URL that you just put in there. So now that we have all of your alerts properly configured, why don't we test them out? So let's go back into our dashboard and go find a new sound in the library. You can go down here and click on the open button and add sound button. It's now in my dashboard. Go to my alerts, go to the new one you just found, and then click on test in browser source. Bruh. And you can see that it is now successfully played inside of OBS as well as the other streaming software. Now, if you aren't hearing any of your sound, we did make another tutorial video which is hosted by me as well, called the Sound Alerts Audio Troubleshooting. There's a card for it right up here, and there's also a link in the description down below. If you're having any issues, feel free to go watch that video as well. Now, recently we added a new feature called the Scene Editor. This is a new feature that allows you to include a variety of interactive widgets that you can build natively right here in your dashboard and also test everything in your dashboard as well. Now, go to the Scenes tab here, click on Create Your First Scene, and go to Add the Widget. There are going to be a bunch of widgets here that you can choose from. When you found the ones that you like, simply click the Add button here, and you will see that it is on the screen right here, and you can set it to wherever your heart is content. Once you've configured your scene in the way that you are happy with, go ahead up to the name up here and name it what you want. Click on the Save Scene button here, and then copy the source, and we are going to add it as a browser source just like we did before. Go ahead and click on New Browser Source and name it Scene Editor. Now, drop your URL in here. And the catch is you want to make sure that your resolution is set to what your base canvas resolution is in your streaming software. So I stream at 1080p, so we're going to set it to 1920 by 1080 and click OK. This way it fits the full size of the screen here, and it is in the exact same position that it was before. All right, and that concludes today's tutorial. We want to thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more sound alerts, tutorials, and videos to come. If you want to join our Discord to get support directly from our support staff, click the link in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.